The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our MApp Enterprise and Predictive Analytics webinar. My name is Kieran Kirk. I'm the Operations Director with IMGS, and with me this morning is Aditya Dote, who is our Data and Pre-Sales Engineer. Morning, Aditya.
Good morning, Kieran.
Okay, I think we're just about ready to get going. I think everybody's coming online now. So this morning we're going to talk about MApp Enterprise and how it can be integrated with predictive analytics to provide asset management and predictive maintenance workflows, particularly for utilities, but can be used for any asset data. So what is MApp Enterprise? MApp Enterprise is an enterprise GIS platform. It provides web, mobile, dashboarding, and advanced editing capabilities all through a single platform. With MApp Enterprise, it provides modern web-based, customizable, off-the-shelf tools that can be used by anybody for whatever workflow they're kind of using, whether it's a manager just wanting to be able to see a dashboard or a progress update, to specialized users, to really complex users doing work in the field, or GIS experts. MApp Enterprise provides a platform for that complete solution. With MApp Enterprise, as I said, it's a complete platform, and it provides you with the ability to create apps or smart maps, as we talk about when it comes to MApp Enterprise. These apps can be comprised of either the rich client, which is the application we're going to show today, which is the Java client, which shows you where you can do advanced editing and analysis tools, to being able to actually use a mobile app to being able to take data into the field. And then we have the web client, which provides both simple apps and simple viewing, but also dashboarding and BI capabilities as well. So MApp Enterprise is built upon 40 years of Hexagon intellectual property. So they have the MApp Enterprise Foundation, where they've taken all the great tools we've seen in G-Media Smart Client, Imagine, and the Imagine and Web Map, and brought these into object-oriented, into a service architecture that can be used by this application. So with MApp Enterprise, we also have a geoprocessing engine where we can run some very advanced analytics, something similar to what we were showing this morning. But also we have now, since with the 2020 release, Lucid Fusion integration, which means that there is a catalog capability there, and also the ability to view and display 3D data. All this is based, it reads, all this from technology reads off the content which can be stored in databases, which can come in from web services or from ERP systems, as we're talking about this morning, asset data, or from catalogs. And one of the powerful parts of MApp Enterprise is MApp Enterprise Studio, which allows you to configure your apps and build your apps without programming. So with the rich client, we have it's an enterprise solution that allows users to have both read and write access, and to have advanced configurable workflows. So the idea with the rich client is you build a workflow to suit the user, so that they can do data capture and validation based on business rules, and they can run spatial analytics. But instead of giving like a full GIS where you've got 1,000 buttons and functions, you provide the workflows for the user based on their user rights, so what their day-to-day job is. So in the example that's playing on the side here, we can see asset management. So where somebody is capturing land asset or property data, where they're marking that up in the map. They don't need to be able to do other workflows. They want to be able to search for, capture a land property, save it in the database. So that way users are very focused on their day-to-day workflows and what they need to get done, as opposed to being with a full desktop GIS like G-Media, where you have all sorts of tools and capabilities, but the user has to figure out which ones to use, which is definitely for a more power user. While with rich client, we can focus down to what the user actually needs to do and focus on their job. The rich client also provides measure tools, advanced printing, and redlining capability. And we'll come on to a little more of that in a second. We also provide inside MApp Enterprise an accessible or responsive web browser that provides a web capability, a read-only web viewer, where you can see your spatial data from multiple data sources with the same styling as you'll see in your rich client and the same data from the database. But because it's an accessible client, it can run on a mobile phone, a tablet, it can run embedded into other web systems or applications. So if you have an ERP or CRM and you want to have a map inside that, the accessible web browser allows you to do that. MApp Enterprise also comes with MApp Enterprise Mobile, which allows the users to create mobile apps, to take, again, workflows and tasks to the field, to create lists and forms, and then do actions and services when out there in the field. With the mobile app, you can synchronize your app back to the office so that you've got offline data storage. So if you, like ourselves, when we've got challenging internet connections when you're in the field, you can still access the data. Not only can you access the data, but you can edit data in the field while offline. And then once you become online, that data can be intelligently synced back to the office or to the server. With the synchronization, it also provides monitoring of activities, so make sure it knows where your field workers are, and also in cases of if there was a problem, if the user was stuck somewhere or hurt or something, they could report back to it using the device. The mobile device also has GPS services, so it can track where you're going, but it can also be used to route you to your next job, and integrates with your device's mobile mapping system like Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever to help you with your navigation. From a GIS point of view, the mobile app provides vector data, provides the ability to consume web services, and you can cache in the information as well. And then the final, one of the other pieces we have with the application is the ability to create dashboards and business intelligence reporting. So again, that means you can rapidly disseminate data, bring the information in. It's self-guiding and interactive, so the application is really easy to use, and it makes better decision making. So these days, everybody wants to see their graph or their dashboard. So this could be a dashboard of, you know, in the case of what we're talking about this morning, pole condition, it could be showing pole condition on a map, or it could be showing the progress for a work management or jobs that are being done. And again, these clients, because it's based on the web client, it's accessible and can run on any device. MApp Enterprise also comes with its own analytic capabilities. So it has a geoprocessing tool that allows you to build advanced analytics, spatial analytics inside the application. So in this version here in the video, we're actually running some change detection between two images to create a very advanced change detection workflow and to figure out change into properties. But the geoprocessing is using all the spatial capabilities of Airdas Imagine and GMedia to build some really, really advanced analytics that you can run in your application. And then once these analytics are created, you can actually then integrate them with your day-to-day workflows. So again, in the case of, say, this example here, the change detection, where it finds change, it can then prompt the user to actually survey that area, to update the land base, to update records that there's new planning applications or new buildings in that area. So this is a very powerful capability in the system that we can integrate this model building capabilities with the rich client, as you can see here. So once you've actually got the data generated, it'll create the workflow, and then people can go in and actually analyze the change, analyze the data, and see it as part of their GIS system. So all in one joined up solution. And this is all driven by MApp Studio. So MApp Studio is the web-based administration suite that comes with MApp Enterprise. It allows you to easily create maps. So you can connect your data, create your legends, style the features, and set up printing. It also allows you to control user access and rights, and integrates seamlessly with things like Active Directory, so you can have single sign-on. It then also allows you to create workflows and review, update, and delete of data, to create search lists, and then to add a validation and advanced queries. So that's an overview of MApp Enterprise this morning. But actually what we're going to show you is a demonstration where we've integrated MApp Enterprise with some advanced machine learning capabilities, which we're running through Python and FME to do predictive maintenance and condition modeling of utility poles. So in an example we've seen in America, for a 1,000-mile LV distribution network, an average pole is spaced about 250 feet apart. So that means there's about 21,000 poles in that area. So assuming 12% of these poles are inspected every 10 years at a cost of $100, an annual inspection cost would be $25,000. So surveying every pole in the country is expensive. I know in Ireland, from an electric point of view, in the Republic of Ireland, I believe there's to be over 2 million poles. So you can understand when it comes to this level of asset and the amount of work it is to do manual inspection, organizations, utilities are now looking at how they can automate this, how they can focus their resources better. So what they need is an enterprise solution that will allow them to update the pole condition whenever there's an intervention. So if a network engineer is out doing a maintenance update, or if there was a storm and had to fix a pole or change a pole or add a new connection, then actually they're able to, while there, update this condition information while in the field. So if they're at the pole, they can then record what the condition of the pole is. Also being able to update the asset data of the pole. So maybe the pole was recorded as type X. When they look at their system, they see it in the GIS as type Y, or in the asset system as type Y, and they can fix that while there. So if you have that data and you have that data always coming in, what you then want to be able to do is use predictive analytics to forecast when a pole will require maintenance or require to be replaced. And then being able to not only use that based on condition, but also take into account other external factors such as weather. So if you know a storm is coming, or if you know, well, actually, every year we have 3 heavy storms in an area. If we apply that to our pole condition in 5 years, how many poles will need replacing? Which poles will need replacing? If we know certain poles of type X or with load Y have a shorter lifespan, when do we need to replace that pole? And then being able to use analytics to predict the optimum time to do either maintenance on an asset or to do replacement. Previously, historically, what organizations would do is they do planned maintenance, which is they would say, okay, every 5, 10, 15 years or whatever it is, we'll just replace every asset. That is very expensive and isn't sustainable going forward. So organizations and utilities now are looking at predictive and reactive maintenance so that they can optimize their asset spend to ensure the longest life of their assets and to ensure the lowest operating cost. And to do that, you need to use predictive analytics and machine learning to calculate and learn from historical information, and then to use the information as it's coming in. In this morning's demo, we're going to show updating condition information through MApp Enterprise. But of course, this could also be sensor information bringing in data through intelligent devices. So we could have IoT devices or smart grid or smart network also pushing data into this condition workflow. So that way we're getting more and more information, turning this data into information, into decisions, to then make best decisions on how we invest our network spend and which parts of the network need changing and how we can optimize our spend. So by integrating things like machine learning with MApp Enterprise, we can manage asset maintenance in a very cost-effective manner and save organizations hundreds of thousands of euros in maintenance spend. So I'm now going to hand over to Aditya, who is going to give you a demonstration. So let me just make Aditya a presenter. And you should be able to get there now, Aditya.
Yep. Thanks. Thanks, Ken. Thanks for the info. I hope you can see my screen. And
yes,
Ken just said, thanks. So good morning, everyone. And let me just start with the summary page that you are seeing. So what we have is, as Karen said, that utility poles and they need maintenance, and how we take note of first how the health, basically how good or how healthy the assets are, and secondly, if we require an intervention, if we require immediate maintenance, how we could accommodate that. So let's start with that. And what you're seeing on your right hand side, the pie chart, what it's showing is the overall health of our assets. So we have got 4,800 utility poles that are spread from east to west coast of island. And basically, these are a sample set, of a larger data set. And on the left hand side, we are seeing a table which shows that, okay, out of all the 4,800 utility poles, these are the 8 poles that, based on the latest data that we have, are kind of, in deprecating condition, and they need replacement because their health index is 1. And by health index, I mean how we have defined it, that 1 being the least and 5 being the poles being healthiest. So now how we calculate this AHI is based on the measures that network engineers take from an asset or from our utility pools. So to get this graph, to get this summarization, I think the most important thing is to get the data, to get the accurate and current data. So let me take you to the MApp Enterprise desktop app that we created to not only get the geospatial data, but then if an intervention is required, perform maintenance and update the status as well. So this is the desktop app that we have created, and let me take you to the UI of it. So what we are seeing is that 4,800 utility poles that are for now you are within the region which is mostly around Dublin. So and these are our layers. The first one is asset survey and asset maintenance. So asset survey layer is the one where, as Karen said, that we need accurate information, and sometimes what happens is that we don't have the latest info about the asset, and there can be a difference of reporting between systems, say GIS and other systems reporting the same asset in a different way. So what I have done is that using this form, network engineers can go out and see basically the description of the pole as to what the details of the poles are, and not only that, but it can capture the status. So as I showed you on the earlier page, that these are the measures that we took to calculate the AHI. So the form allows a network engineer to fill in the details. So let's see that thickness of the shed, ground line, circumference, surface condition. So now since it's time that the survey was, the maintenance was performed, so from now and till today, the surface condition deteriorated a bit, and so now it has a woodpecker hole as well. And the carrying transformer wasn't mentioned before, but it carries a 3-phase transformer. So now it this form does provide us. Yeah, Karen.
Yeah, no, just to say, so this form I did here just to get for the guys who are watching, that you're like, first off, you're not a programmer. You're a data guy and an ETL engineer. So we built this with MApp Studio. So this form is not programmed. It was all drag and drop in the studio to create this form, which I think took you a few hours to put together. So with a bit of SQL knowledge, you're able to create the form, publish it, and put it out in the app. Now, in this demo, we're using the Rich client. Of course, this form could also be done through the mobile app. So we could also have the mobile app for capturing this information. So we're updating condition of pole, but we're also, as you can see here, we're going to update some of the asset data. So is it a 3-phase or a single-phase pole? So again, when the user, with having a GIS, which can be used both in the field and at the desktop, means that we can, at any intervention, so if it's a new build, if it's a replacement, if it's a guy doing vegetation inspection, tree cutting, whatever they're doing in the field, you can then empower your mobile users with MApp Enterprise and your desktop users to update the data so that your asset and condition data information is always up to date. And that's and again, one other thing that we see there is Aditya is writing to one SQL table. With MApp Enterprise, as we talked about earlier on, we can also pull data from your asset systems. So it could be from Maximo, from SAP. So this information can be provided and then provided in a GIS format for people to use. And it's really, really quick and easy to use then to get this information and to enable the enterprise to be always ensuring your data is up to date. And that's the real advantage of the GIS. This system here, the user doesn't need to be trained in weeks of how to use a full GIS system. He just needs to know how to search on a pole, click on a pole, and update the record. And again, that means he's not being distracted from his day-to-day job. He's able to fill in this information, save it in the database, and get on with his work. And it's easy to use. Thanks, Lee. Sorry, just to jump in there.
Thanks, Karen. And that's exactly because data is what we need to get a good calculation and accurate results. So and also a way to capture the data which is persistent and can be programmed easily. So that was the first step of calculating the asset health.
And we're just using, just for the people who might not be aware, for the dashboarding here, we're just using SciSense just to show how MApp Enterprise can integrate with a third-party BI. This could be now SciSense is the equivalent to Power BI or Tableau. So again, we're a SciSense partner, so we use SciSense naturally. But a lot of organizations out there also use things like Power BI, or they might use Tableau or Looker. Again, we're just showing how we can integrate MApp Enterprise with these mainstream business intelligence systems.
Yeah. And as we have seen the feed from MApp Enterprise into the system, and as Karen said that once we have it, we could get more additional data, external data, and empower or make our maintenance predictive. So if then created another process, what it does is it it gets the weather data over the pools, and using the data we have found that based on the prediction, so the weather forecast data gives a 10-day predictions over a particular net long. So for all the 4,800 pools, we have got that prediction. What it says that on on 23rd of September there's going to be storm. So since we had 10 days of prediction, we just thought to focus on a day when the weather is going to be worse. So let's filter it out because we just want to actually focus our detail on the poles that and that will require or may require attention. So you could see that as I filter it out, it warns us that there's going to be a hurricane level 3 warning. So based on the external data, similarly, Karen said that we could get the IoT sensors data apart from the MApp Enterprise forms data that we got in. So in similar way, we got this weather data, and what we've done is based on the two data sets, one from the MApp Enterprise survey and the weather data, we then recalculated our asset health using machine learning prediction. And as you can see that earlier we saw that there are 8 utility poles that needed maintenance, but now if we consider the external weather factor into account plus the latest data that the surveyor has or the network engineer has filled in while performing maintenance in the field, you could see that now there are 11 utility poles that needs maintenance. So, and basically these are those 11 ones. So you could see if this particular column, it says that 8 poles were from the survey or from the previous maintenance records, but then now there are 3 more that we are predicting if you consider the weather that needs immediate attention or maintenance. So now that drives us a call for an action, and that how we could transfer that info or how to convey the same to the network engineers so they could go and perform the maintenance. So let's come back to our app that exactly does it, and it allows a network engineer to see exactly what's there in the maintenance bucket. So let me set this, hide this layer and just make this one active. So this layer that you're seeing is, these are the 11 utility pools that from our prediction we feed into MApp Enterprise, and MApp Enterprise picked it up and it has updated the forms. And we could also use search option to see what's there in our maintenance list. You could see that there are 11 pools, and the ones that we predicted were 2 from Dublin and 1 from Galway, so they are in there and with their maintenance status. So you could say that most of them are open, but then 3 of them are in progress. So ones which is open, we can double click on it. We could see the details that, okay, what's the status, pool ID, and if we have additional info, we could just get them from other system as well, and we can populate them here. Since the status was never updated, so the field is blank, but we could also zoom into that particular pool that we are looking. So you could see that it's located somewhere here, but not only that, we could, the network engineers then can update the status as well, or can perform maintenance. So let's say today is 3rd of November, and the name of the network engineer who's at the site, what task he performed. So let's say the health index was 1 this coming storm, so he decided to decommission it. Just write it down a note that safety is enforced, but let's say that the status will make it to work in progress, that says safety is enforced, the pole is decommissioned, but someone needs to go and remove that pole, and you could save it. And so this way, the engineer can get to know the real-time info of the assets that needs maintenance, but not only that, once he's at the site, he can update the status as well. So I think that's kind of completes the journey, to not only capture the data, but then perform action based on the latest data using MApp Enterprise.
Yeah, and I think the big thing it did here there is, you had 4,000 polls in your sample set. With the analytic, we were able to focus the activity down to 11, and we were able to base that on the condition, which was the 8, which were, well, they're bad now, so they need replacing now. But then also to use the predictive analytic to figure out, well, actually, based on what we know, based on current factors, whether it's weather or historic, in the future, we expect in a year's time, these poles are going to fail. Whatever forecast we want to use, we can then predict which parts of the network need maintenance, when, and how to do them, and then provide a work management piece where you can give a list of jobs to your field crew and say, look, these are the equipment we need you to fix, replace, maintain, whatever it is, inspect. And again, you're then driving your resources, focusing your resources where it needs to be, as opposed to taking a sledgehammer to crack a nut, which was the old approach of planned maintenance, which was just to replace everything on a scheduled basis, which is just very, very expensive. Okay, can you make me presenter with it here?
Yeah, I think you should have the option.
Yeah. I'm back now. Yeah, thank you. Okay, and just in summary, and I'll just do the last couple of slides and then we'll take questions. MApp Enterprise provides an enterprise platform to manage asset data from design to build. So, like we showed today, how we were updating the status. Of course, we could have captured the location of the asset. We could have marked up that asset pole when it was being built in the system as well. And we've got a desktop, web, and mobile application for that. And by integrating machine learning tools, we can build advanced forecasting to greatly decrease asset maintenance costs. We were planning to have our location intelligence event, I think it was around last week or something, where we moved it out till February 2021. So we will be showing a lot more information around MApp Enterprise, but also from the greater Hexagon portfolio. Some of the really cool things that have come out with MApp Enterprise in the last year is its 3D support and its ability now to take point cloud data, visualize that, and add that to your analytic workflow. So again, this morning we were taking a very simple set of condition information. We could have been taking into account mobile mapping. So you've got guys driving, you know, these scanners loaded on top of vans down the road to take in mobile data, take in point cloud data. That could have been bringing into, we could have taken in imagery, we could have taken in satellite imagery. There's so much more we can build into these analytics. And again, MApp Enterprise provides very advanced spatial analytics capabilities with its remote sensing and spatial querying capabilities, which can also enhance what we're doing with the machine learning. What was the Python model you used there, Aditya? That's a standard forecasting model, isn't it? That was used this morning.
Yes, Ken, so behind the background, I use KNN, machine learning model, to predict.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, that's open source, isn't it? Anybody can use that, really.
It's open source, yeah, it's Python, and anyone can use it.
Yeah, so again, we integrated this morning with FME, with MApp Enterprise to run that analytic and then visualize it in Sisense. But in theory, we could have called that Python script directly from the geoprocessing inside MApp Enterprise. So again, there's a number of ways to skin that cat. The reason we used FME was we showed this workflow at our FME World Tour last month. Again, if you want to see that and see more in depth on how we are pushing and pulling that data, you can go online and see the FME World Tour videos, which I think are up there now. All right, I think Gareth, Tanya, we may have some questions. Maybe not. Have we, the guys there, have any questions? Or then in the panel? These are up. You
Kieran,
on mute.
Sorry, I was muted there. Yeah, sorry, we do a great presentation, Aditya and Kieran, and morning everybody. Everybody's had their coffee this morning, so there's quite a few. I think the summary has answered a couple of the first initial questions, but can this be done in mobile? Was one of them, so I assume they're talking about the workflow. Yes.
Now the mobile app has because it works offline, you do have to do a little bit of recreation of the workflow for the mobile app. But yes, 100%. It's just they have two different configuration workflows. You can't lift the workflow exactly. You do have to do a little bit of extra work for the mobile version because of the XML and offline capability.
Okay, brilliant. Lovely. The next one, and again, I think Aditya, you just asked Aditya that. What do you use for predictive analytics, for the predictive analytics / ML? So I think you said that Python, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's Python, and Kevin said it right, that it's open source, and it's just that platform you need wherever you want to run it. So maybe it can be the backend or FME, or but yes, I used KNN for this purpose.
Lovely. The next one, is there an audit log to track history of surveys and updates?
Yeah, we build that as part of the workflow. So first off, again, because MApp Enterprise integrates with Active Directory and single sign-on, but also it can use just standard user logon. So you can store who makes each change and store that in the database, and then you can configure how much or how little information you want to keep as part of that audit trail.
Lovely, brilliant. Can these outputs be shared via an API to a third party?
Yes, so first off, MApp Enterprise provides the ability to create web services, so it can expose data through WFS, WMS, so that can be then accessible by other applications. Naturally, we're a big FME house, so everything we do, usually there's FME sitting in the background, so FME server and FME desktop can make all that data 100% available. Also with MApp Enterprise, we don't put a proprietary layer between us and the data, so we store it in SQL Server, Oracle, or PostgreSQL. So it's open information. So again, even applications like the Sisense or Power BI, they can actually go in and take that information without any translation. So loads of ways to share that data.
Brilliant. The next question is actually quite a good question. I know we've done it for other customers, but actually probably would have been nice for the demo. But could a member of the public or a contractor submit information or false via a portal?
Yes. Yes, 100%. Actually, that's a really good, and I actually meant to say it and I forgot. The same way we've, and actually you did create a web version of the survey update, so you could have this as a public site using using the public, the accessible web client that users could fill information in, and that data be pushed back into the database as well. Yeah, and again, it's something like we did a project, Garrett, and it's your customer, the Dublin City Culture Map. So we have, the minute they have MApp Enterprise and members of the public are able to register their cultural events, or not events, so I'll be short for saying that, cultural entities around Dublin, and they're able to fill in forms, and that data is approved. It goes through an approval workflow in MApp Enterprise before it's published to the system and then published out to the website. So yeah, 100%. And the great thing with MApp Enterprise, because we don't license by the server or the machine, it's a usage-based system or a subscription-based system. You can have a public-facing server, you can have internal servers, you can architect this system however you need it to be, and there's no additional charges. So having a public-facing portal to take in customer information, whether it's reporting a fault, or the classic one, you're driving down the road, you can see a pole is leaning to the left or the right, and you think it's going to come down, being able to notify that. 100%, and we have a number of utilities that look at those kind of workflows.
Brilliant. The next one, again, Kieran, you kind of touched on earlier on, and we showed it at the World Tour, and it's again really kind of relevant. So based on the predictions, could an alert or a work order be sent to a field crew to inspect?
Yeah, and again, it's what Aditya did there. That list is the list of work order, and then being able to see it. Remember his little filter screen that he had? That's the list of actions. Now, yes, in the World Tour, we were able to send that list to, I think we sent it to Teams, so people got notifications in Teams, Microsoft Teams, that they had jobs to do. I think we've also sent it things like Jira, and FME is just fantastic at building those workflows. MApp Enterprise is great at a joined up workflow, so that the guy on his mobile app brings up the mobile app, and then he's got a list of jobs to do, polls to inspect, and of course with the routing on the mobile device, he can just click next job, it'll route him, drive him from where he is to that location, fill in the information, update the back office system, move on to the next job. So it is that round trip solution that we're able to provide.
Brilliant. That's it, Kieran. I was just having a quick look at, nothing else has come in. So brilliant.
All right. Actually, the one thing, Aditya, maybe if you can share your screen again, I'll make you a presenter. If you could just bring up Studio, just so I think there was a question about, I think there was some, we didn't really show it, but I think it's useful. We've got 2 minutes. So this is Studio. So this is the web system where you can build these workflows. And if you just want to go into the workflow for one of the workflows you created, you can see how easy it is. It's drag and drop. So you can see the maintenance workflow. You can edit it. You can see how the form is set up, how we can set up the fields. It literally is a drag and drop GUI interface. So again, and I don't think we're giving away home secrets. A week ago, Aditya, you hadn't used MApp Enterprise.
No.
So literally, we said to Aditya, we need a demo. You're our data guy, but we want you to build a MApp Enterprise workflow. So you set up the studio, set up the app, brought the data in, and built 2 workflows and learned it in a few days over the last week. So I think it is partly because you're very clever, but partly it is because the system is easy to use.
Yeah, no, exactly, Karen. And the only code I performed is this ID you are saying. So that's just a column name from the database. That's all.
Yeah, and
apart from it, everything was drag and drop.
Yeah, it's just the only thing the user needs is a bit of SQL just to understand the database. Really, that's the that's the one piece I would always, you're a good SQL guy, and I would always say a bit of SQL for that. But apart from that, like it really is an intuitive system. Good online help tutorials, so really helps people with what they're trying to do.
Exactly.
All right, unless there's any other questions, I think we're just about bang on time. So I thank everybody. Thank everybody for coming. So Garrett and Tanya, who've been doing everything in the background there and making sure everything runs, and Aditya for doing the hard work and getting the demo ready. And thank you all. Hope you're all staying safe. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Let us know. We will be sending around the webinar later on, so you can look back. But if you want to see more, just let us know. And thank you all for coming today.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, bye.
Thanks,
Guys. Okay, bye-bye.